Hi guys, it's Richardlizhu. In this video, I'm going to tell you about how my Tesla Model S crashed itself not just once, but twice. As a disclaimer, I want to say everyone and all the vehicles are okay. There was no bodily or physical harm done with any of these crashes, but I just wanted to make this video to let you guys know about this incident. So first off, let's show you how Tesla Auto Park is supposed to work. So I'm in my spot right now, and I'm going to back out of it. So I'm watching to make sure everyone is out of the way. And actually it takes a little bit of getting used to how this auto park feature works. Let's back all the way up here. Okay, so my aim is to park into that spot, okay, in between those two cars. So now I'm going to creep forward slowly and get as close to that car as possible. And then now I just creep forward slowly, and then once my tail is clear of that car, you see here that there is there's a little P there. So that means that I can do auto park, right? So now I have to be careful of any people nearby. But so now that I can auto park, I just put into reverse, and then here you see auto park ready. So I click start, and everything is auto parking. So you can watch on the screen here, but I'm not touching the wheel. Everything it's doing, it's getting dangerously close, but that's what it's programmed to do. You can see, and then it pulls forward. So it always pulls back one, it pulls forward, and then it will start adjusting to go inside. So now it's going to pull back in, and then it always centers itself in between the two cars next to you, so it doesn't actually look at the lines. It looks at where the cars are. Oh, so it's doing a third adjustment now, which it usually doesn't do. It usually just pulls back, pulls forward, and pulls back in, and it's done. So now it's doing a third adjustment because it thought something was wrong. And yeah, so it aligns itself in the middle of the two cars that you're parking in between. So now it's showing that it's pretty much in the spot. Great. Okay, so this actually isn't how I would have parked. So let's go out and take a look. So the park here was actually very far into the sidewalk. As you can see, it's like over a foot into the sidewalk. So like all the other cars are, parked normally, and so normally the Tesla doesn't do this. So one time I was parking here and it actually just didn't stop, and then my car started riding onto the curb here, and then I don't know, I couldn't spot any damage ever, but yeah, it just rode onto the curb. My car was lowered. Right now it's in the very highest setting. So it rode up onto the curb, and that's how it crashed itself. So that one wasn't too bad because the damage was to the underside, because I heard it scraping, and then I had to quickly put my foot on the brake. And so like even this park I'm gonna have to redo, right? So I'm just gonna pull it forward a little bit. Actually, let's do this using the summon. So I have my key fob, and then so you double tap, so you long hold on the middle to activate summon until the lights are flashing, and now this means summon is available. So now you press the forward to go forward, and now summon is starting. So this is what I would call a good park, right? It was about, I pulled it about a foot forward. So this is one instance where my car crashed into something while on autopilot. The other time was actually when it was parallel parking. So when it parallel parks, you do the same maneuver, you creep up slowly past, if you pretend that these two cars were parked parallelly, you creep up to right here, and then you would do the same thing. It would show up as a spot that you can park in. You put in reverse and then it'll go in. So it does it when you parallel park, it does it in one go, which is really nice. I rely on it because it knows exactly how much space you need to parallel park. And then it can always pull into in one go. So one time when I was parallel parking, what happened was it had a miscalculation, and actually my bumper here actually bumped into the car that was in front of me. So it was very slight. You can see here, you can see the marks from it here. So it sucks that it did this, because it's hard for me to then trust the autopilot, the auto park feature. So like I actually use it much more sparingly, and I'm much more careful. Like I make sure that there's a lot of clearance when I'm parking. But so like I don't blame the engineers at Tesla for this, right? Honestly, if I was programming a self-parking feature, I'll do the same thing. Like what really weirded me out was that time when I was trying to parallel park. The space was actually super big. Like there was like 1.5 car lengths behind me, so it wasn't like I was doing a super tight parallel park, and yet it still hit the car in front of me. So like my request to the engineers at Tesla would be like, if there's more space, like use that more space, right? You don't need the super tight tolerance, like perfect parallel park every single time, because that 99% of the time that'll be great, but in 1% of the time you'll encounter a little situation like I did, right? And then where it'll actually crash into the car. So that was a huge bummer. But like I think it's always better to err on the side of caution. And I can't even blame the engineers at Tesla, because if I were to program a self-parking feature, I would do the same thing. There's a concept in computer science called invariance, right? Basically what they do is invariant, you start with a guaranteed state, you do something else, and because you started with that guaranteed state, and because you know exactly what you did, you'll be guaranteed to have a great end state. So basically when the Tesla self-parks itself, it has a guaranteed starting state, which is that you are pulled just beyond the space that you want to park into. And when you parallel park it, it will pull back in one. And then when you perpendicular park it, it'll pull back, pull forward, and then pull back. And if it needs to readjust itself, it will. So they use these invariants to ensure that you get a perfect parallel park every time. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video to let you guys be aware of the fact that your Tesla could crash into something while auto parking. You know, I had used it without any concern before the second incident, of the one where it crashed into itself, crashed into another car. The one where it rode up onto the back, onto the sidewalk, it wasn't that big of a deal to me, because, you know, it was just a one car thing. It didn't really matter that much. There was not really any visible damage. So yeah, just be careful when using the autopilot, the auto park, and just be sure that you're always vigilant and being attentive of where your car is on the road. And so, yeah, if any engineers at Tesla are watching, please just like be aware that this is something that happened to me. I don't know if like the sensors were, like if it was a sensor problem, because I can imagine, you know, it was a very slight, like it was maybe like a millimeter off or like a centimeter off. You know, just if the car had pulled back like an inch more, it would have cleared it perfectly, right? So like, I don't know if it's like a mechanical thing, like the software told the car to go back 20 inches, but it only went back 19 inches. I don't know if that's what happened, or if the software just is programmed to such tight tolerances that like you want that perfect park every time, right? My suggestion to engineers at Tesla is that you know, if you have more space, take the more space and just go back to 24 inches instead of the 20 inches, and just take that extra space and just use it. You know, you definitely have the sensor technology to be able to see that far. And you know, overall, I think the Tesla auto parking is great, but these are the two situations and mishaps that I've had with the Tesla auto park. I mean, I've used it dozens of times and I've had these two issues with it. Thanks for watching. For more videos about Tesla and cars and tech, in Silicon Valley. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.